All right, let's move on to the next slide. How much does the VA pay? What the VA pays is, and they divide that figure into 12 equal payments. Let's say the veteran's example that I gave you a few minutes ago, that he or she has to be under 12,256 or whatever the figure was. But he or she is over. If we can get that veteran, after discounting some medical expenses, and I'm going to go into detail this in a few minutes, if we can get you under that $12,000 limit for the first example that I showed you, what the VA does is, let's say we can get you, for your income is 18, but after medical expenses, we get you down to 0. In other words, he's in an assisted living facility. He's paying $3,000 a month. Do you see where his medical expenses wiped out all his income? So instead of his annual income being 12, minus his medical expenses, assisted living and Medicare premiums, is basically his income for VA purposes now 0. That means the VA will pay him that full $12,256 divided by 12. That's how that works. Remember I told you that there are income levels, thresholds. Okay? What the VA does is, before you throw up your hands and say, forget it, I'm not going to qualify for that, then here's how we can maybe get you underneath those income thresholds. What the VA the next thing they look at, and what we do is when we prepare your claim, we look at your medical expenses. And I'm going to give you some examples of the recurring medical expenses that they use to offset your income. Using the earlier example, this veteran, we got to get him under 12, and he or she earns 18 a year, 18,000. Do they qualify? No. What we start doing is looking at their recurring medical expenses to offset, to get them underneath the income level. I'll give you an example. How many in this room are paying for Medicare premiums each month? Not me. Not yet. Okay. That is an allowable medical expense. That's $1,158 a year. So that veteran that I gave you the example that was earning $18,000, now he's at $16,800, $16,900. We're getting him closer to 12. That veteran also might be paying $200 a month for AARP supplemental medical insurance. Okay, that $2,400 is an allowable medical expense. So now he's gone from 18 to 16. Now we got him down to 14. Do you see how we're getting him slowly closer to the 12? And then the veteran, we find out he's paying for a caretaker to come to his home each month, and he's paying $800 a month. Okay, now you see how we're slowly chipping away at his monthly income, where that may get you underneath the $12,000 in that case. Now if he or she is in an assisted living facility and they're paying at a minimum, you know, I see the rates. I mean, some folks are paying, you know, 28, 27, 32, 48, 54. I see the figures each month. It's astounding what it costs. Do you see where that would that fee alone would wipe out the veteran's monthly income, get them to 0, and then what the VA does is once for VA purposes you're at 0, the VA will pay you that $12,256 to get you back up to that minimum standard of living. So whatever that ends up being divided by 12, I think it's like 1075 or 1076 a month. So, did I kind of explain that okay? Does everybody get an idea? Remember, the VA says you have to get underneath a certain figure, but you and or your spouse are over. We get you underneath there by looking at your medical expenses. That's the key to this program. That's the first hurdle. Well, actually, the first hurdle is you have to serve during a period of war, you know, honorably. Now, once you pass all those hurdles, then we got this hurdle of the income. The next hurdle, thank you, there's always a catch, right? Now the VA also, let's say you pass the hurdle of monthly income from you and your spouse, or the veteran by himself if he's a widower or she's a widower. You have to meet the net worth standard. What the VA does is they look at your net worth, not including your home. They could care less if they expect you're going to have, if you have a house, they expect you to have a house. The good thing is they don't count that in your net worth. Your home could be worth $100,000 or $1 million. Hopefully not that high, because it's probably going to be hard to qualify. But the point is, they don't care about your net worth as far as your home. Here's what they do care about: your checking, your savings, your IRA, your annuity, your stocks, your bonds, KEO plans. Did I say that right? KEO plans? That's what they look at as far as your net worth. So if the veteran, let's use the example that I gave you a few minutes ago. That veteran that was at $18,000, but we got him or her down to 0 because each month he or she's in assisted living, they're paying $3,000 a month, we wiped out their income. But the veteran has stocks, bonds, and a mutual fund, and he or she is at $100,000 in net worth. Is he or she going to qualify for this benefit? They're not going to qualify. The question was, does the VA count life insurance policies? The answer to that is they do not count life insurance policy. Do they count the wife in the net worth? That was a question? Oh yeah, they count the wife in the net worth. It's household income, okay? Now, again, let's not throw up our hands and say, oh, we're not going to qualify. My net worth, I'll be with you. My net worth and my wife's net worth is, we're at $100,000. Forget it, I'm not doing it. There's a catch for everything else. The government, believe it or not, they do try to help. Believe it or not. Believe it or not, right? There are forms that we can use to show, and we have to let the VA know. It's called a record of detailed expenses. And then, it's a little bit extra work, but we do pretty much most of it in concert with you, and sometimes many of you with your children. And we write down how much you're paying for insurance and auto and taxes, and then the VA, they can use formulas. Even though my net worth might be $100,000 and I don't qualify, but I'm spending $6,000 a month on taxes, insurance, auto payment, groceries, light bills, utility, whatever. And then they have a formula, and they can calculate when you'll be under the $80,000. Does that make sense? Now, if your net worth and your wife is $500,000, it's going to take a long time to get you underneath 80, isn't it? So, and I try to set the expectations realistically here. I mean, these programs are for low-income veterans, but you still can have some wealth. 80,000 is quite a bit of wealth. So, but if you're a little bit over that, don't lose faith. The government does have little tricks to be able to try to forecast when you're going to be under the 80, and we can still help you.